Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to be doing a speed design of some American Racing Torq Thrust style wheels, which I'm modeling using Fusion 360. I figured since there are a lot of you out there wanting to see more of the design and development process that goes into making custom RC vehicles, parts, chassis, and other components, I would make some videos such as this one. As I said, I'm going to be designing these to look similar to vintage American Racing Torq Thrust wheels, specifically the VN105D and VN309 variants. These are being designed in 1/24 scale, however I'll probably adjust the size and any necessary design elements of this model so that it will be able to fit on a 1/10 scale vehicle as well at some point in the future. The main reason I chose to design these wheels in particular is since I'm currently designing a lot of 1/24 scale muscle car, truck, and hot rod chassis and related components, a lot of which I'm designing around the MA10 axle, which I'm currently using on the Firebird Drift build. I want to have a nice wheel option to go along with these chassis. So I'll be designing a variety of different wheels that you'd expect to see on a muscle car or hot rod such as these. And with that said, let me know in the comments below what wheels you'd like to see me design in a future video. I'm using a similar process to what I have shown in a previous video, to where I start with a reference image, which this particular reference image isn't the best, but since I'm not overly concerned about making it an exact copy of the original design, this reference image is more than adequate. But from that reference image, I begin making a base sketch more or less, where I trace all the elements onto that sketch plane, and pretty much everything is going to be extruded out or referenced from that base sketch. As I've said before, there are a lot of different ways to go about the design process. I'm not sure if this is the best or most efficient approach. I'm certainly not an expert, especially when it comes to Fusion 360. However, it worked out pretty well for me, and really as long as you get the finished results you want, and it doesn't take a crazy amount of time to do that, at the end of the day, that's what really matters. Hopefully, showing the process that I used will give you some ideas and inspiration for your own projects. At some point, I'll probably try out some different methods for designing wheels, just to experiment a bit and try something different. Since I've received some comments on some previous videos requesting that I slow down the speed a little bit, I have done so for this video. Also, in case you are unaware, YouTube allows you to adjust the speed that a video plays at by clicking the little gear on the lower right hand corner of the video player. It's a neat little feature that probably doesn't get much use, but it's handy in certain situations. I think that's all I have to say right now. As you can see, I'm basically tracing elements of the reference image onto my sketch plane, which you'll see in just a bit how I use this sketch to begin modeling the wheel. So now I'm beginning to extrude elements from the sketch to create the outer section of the wheel. Once I determined how thick I wanted the wheel, I created a sketch plane at the back and projected some of the elements of the first sketch onto it, and extruded from that sketch plane. One thing I've mentioned before in previous videos when I'm doing design work, and is very important, is to always keep in mind that you don't want to make any sections of the model too thin. For example, if I was to take this wheel and model it to the exact measurements of the full-size wheel, only at 1/24th the size, I might run into some issues of the wheel breaking or being very difficult to 3D print. I want to pay attention to things like the outer rim and the spokes, and make sure that I'm not making these sections too thin on my model, especially considering how relatively small this wheel is going to be, and that I want this wheel to be quite durable. Here I'm using a simple T-spline revolve command to make a set of spokes that do not curve from the outer edge towards the center, like the spokes in the reference image on the right have. I will be using these straight spokes later on to create a slight variation of this design, more similar to the VN309 version of the Torq Thrust wheel. It's a very subtle difference, but I figured I'd make both designs. To create the curved spokes, I'm using a sketch spline to define the curve. I use the patch environment to turn the T-spline surface into a solid body, which I will combine with the rest of the model later on. I added supports to the back of each spoke to add a little bit of strength. And here's a look at the finished wheel. To create the second variation, I simply use the timeline to go back and use the straight spokes in place of the curved ones. I made sure to save this as a new project before doing so. I noticed some differences on the full-size version around the center section of the wheel, which I made some similar changes to my model. And here's how the finished second variation looks. Like I said, the difference is very subtle, but it was easy enough to make. I can't wait to get these wheels printed and see how they look on a future project car. As I said at the beginning of this video, I plan on doing more videos like this showing the design process with a little bit of narration. I know this type of video isn't everybody's cup of tea, but a huge part of these custom RC projects is designing the components, and this type of video isn't difficult nor time consuming to make, so if you want to see more videos like this, I can definitely make more. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I will do my best to answer it. Thank you all for watching, I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.